Hi, I'm Ozzy from Three Monkeys Amps and Three Monkeys Solderless, where we make the best solderless cable around, no stripping. Just cut it off and you literally just screw the ends on. And when they bottom out, you're done. So it's also formable and extremely high quality cable for great sound. But check us out at Three Monkeys Solderless. But anyway, what I wanted to talk to you guys today about was where I think this whole, let's say, pedalboard thing is going, and the whole architecture of live rigs and recording rigs, and what I think is really the best solution as it sits right now for what's available for creating what would be an extremely versatile system that has a relatively small footprint and just tremendous versatility. And it revolves around basically what I would consider, let's say, two main pedal boards and then a bunch of let's say smaller pre-pedal boards. So pre-pedal boards, amplifier pedal boards, and then post-pedal boards. Now, what would all these things be defined as? Well, let's start off at the signal chain at the beginning. You would have your guitar, right? And you would plug into, let's say, one pedal board that would have your traditional pedal board gear on it. It would have things like fuzz pedals, distortion pedals, wah pedals, univibes, anything that you would really want to throw up in front of your amplifier if you were just playing a gig at, right? So any pedal board, and each one of these pedal boards could be tailored to a specific artist even. So you might have something like, let's say for instance, let me grab something off the floor here real quick. You might be like, have something like, you know, a Jimi Hendrix style or a Stevie Ray style pedal board where you've got, you know, some fuzzes, a wah pedal, a univibe, you know, a little bit of like an echo pedal maybe. Something like that would be, you know, your first in line pedal board. So guitar into that pedal board. Your next pedal board is what I would advocate would be a bunch of smaller footprint amplifiers that are tube based and designed to work in conjunction with things like the Two Notes IR. Now this is all revolving around that whole impulse response thing that's been going on, and really the advent or the introduction of affordable impulse response units that can simulate cabinets and miking and all that are available at a low cost and a very small footprint. Something like the Torpedo, the Two Notes Torpedo Cab M, really makes this possible. So as I was saying, you would get something like, you know, your pre-pedal board that might be, you know, Stevie Ray, or it might be Hendrix, or it might be, let's say, Gilmour, it might be Eddie, it might be, you know, Aerosmith, it might be any of the great tones that we all love. And then you would have the next board, which would have a series of these guys in here. And I've built a number of them now over the past weeks, and I'll kind of show you. All of these would be amplifiers, right, that are to mimic the preamps of all, like, let's say, staple amplifiers. So what I have here is, this right here would be an AC30, right? AC15, AC30, this is the sock monkey pedal. So you would plug this into, you know, put this on the board, and then you might put, you know, let's say like your Memory Man delay in front of it. And you'd have, you know, like your Edge rig, or however, put a, you know, a treble booster in front of it for a Brian May rig. You know, anything that would go AC30 or whatever. So you would have this on the board. You might also have this on here, which is actually an alembic. This is an alembic pre for like a Gilmour style setup. So you would have that up there. You could have, you know, everybody's seen this already that's been on the channel, the Moto Teddy, the Jose, something like that for, you know, your higher gain sounds. You might have this on there too, which is it's a Fender Bandmaster, which was, it's the preamp that was used on, you know, all that, you know, what was it? Oh my God, I'm having a senior moment. All the Montrose stuff, you know, the early Montrose stuff. Some of those sick guitar sounds were done with that. So you'd have like one of these on there. And then, well, the last one's on this board already, but you would have a series of those kinds of preamplifier pedals all on one board in loops. So you'd have your sort of like pre-pedal boards with your distortion pedals, your choruses, all that stuff, plugged into a loop box, which would have all these other amplifiers in there. So now you got like 5 or 6 amplifiers on a small footprint, right? And you can switch them all in and out and decide, you know, I want my Brian May going into my AC30. I want my AC30 then going where? Well, into your Now, this would be the last amplifier, let's say pedal amplifier, that you would put on your board, on your amplifier board. And this is one I just put together recently, and it's sort of like a blues breaker, woman tone amplifier for, more guys that are like into the Clapton thing. So anyway, what I would advocate for this board is to actually, this wouldn't be on here, this would be the power supply, but you would have everything you would want after your amplifier in an ideal setting, right? So you've got your 2 notes, which would be plugged from the amplifier pedal board, going into something like a mimic, which is a doubler, into a harmonizer, a delay, a reverb, basically anything it's your choice that you would want to go to create your ambience, to create your room, to create your post effects, and then come straight out of this either into the PA at the gig that you're at, or plug it into the board of whatever recording equipment you've got. And then you have the ability to really go from, with 3 pedal boards, let's say, going from a tremendous amount of guitar tones. Now, if you were to also MIDI implement the whole thing and have the MIDI switchers run the amplifiers, the little pedal amplifiers as well, I mean, you're talking now, the variety of sounds that you could have would be endless. The other interesting thing is, how many times would you be able to step on a foot switch and be able to, let's say, route an AC30 into a Marshall for a slave, or run a Bandmaster into a Marshall, or run a Marshall into a Marshall, or a Jose into an AC30, or an AC30 into a Jose? If you have a proper switching network, which would allow you all those different variations, anything is possible, and the variety of sounds open up even exponentially. So, in my opinion, I think this is where everything's going. With the 2 notes, something like this, that's MIDI capable as well, right? Is it? I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, well, it is controllable anyway by an external, let's say Logic device, like a computer or something like that. So if you went and plugged, let's say you want to have a rig that is pure Brian May, you'd step on a pedal, it would load up the 3 Monkeys, Sock Monkey cabinet as the 2 notes cabinet. You would have the AC30 amplifier on your amplifier rig put into the loop, and then you would have your Rangemaster pedal on your first pedal board and just slam on that. That could also be incorporated into a loop, and now you've got a very authentic sort of Brian May thing. You could add, flanging and chorus and doubling and harmonies and reverb, to get all those sounds that he had on all those albums, just at the flip of the switch, and then touch another switch, and then you could go to Eric Clapton, right? So you would have you would keep your Rangemaster on, have a wah pedal on, go into the Blues Breaker pedal, which is going into the 2 notes, which would be set on, let's say, a vintage Celestion, like a greenback, a 30-watt greenback, 25-watt greenback, and then maybe put a little bit of plate reverb or a little bit of room on there, and now you've got your woman tone going on. Step on another switch and you've got Eddie. Step on another switch, you've got Aerosmith. So, and all of it will fit in the trunk of your car. So this is where I think things are going. So I know today was just all talking and describing things, but I've been doing my homework over the past week, and I've built a bunch of these pedals now to suffice all this. I'm going to build 2 more. I'm going to build a deluxe reverb one, which I think that's a staple, and maybe a tweed, like a deluxe tweed. And we're going to go and we're just basically going to demo all this stuff through the 2 notes and find the right impulse responses for all of them and see how it all sounds. But I think this is where everything's going. At least that's where I'm going with everything. So anyway, stay tuned, and we'll be back relatively shortly with some demos of all this stuff. So once again, thanks for your time, and I'll see you guys later. All right, so this is just a quick thing on top just to sort of show you how I vision it all sort of sitting. So you'd have your preamp pedal board here. In this case, it's sort of the Hendrix thing, right? And that would be plugged into sort of like, let's say, a MIDI foot switcher on the bottom right here, like a 5-position, 6-position MIDI foot switcher right here, which will allow you to select any one of these tube pedal amplifiers or Pedalfires in any sequence alone, slaving into one another and what have you. And then the output of that sort of box, that loop box or MIDI loop box, it could be done either way, simply or more complicated, MIDI or analog. would then feed this board here, which would be the post board, which would have obviously your cabinet simulation, which you could vary as well with the amplifier, and then all your post effects for giving you the ambience that you would want to have to really make your guitar, your guitar signal special. So that's sort of how I would see it looking, and that's all you would need to carry. And then you could just put it in the trunk of your car, and when you get to the gig, slap it on the floor and plug your stereo outs from the last pedal on the on the post board straight into some PA or front of house, and you're good to go. So there it is.